Welcome to Kidmissing TV. This is the case of Richard Leape, and that of an unidentified doe, and the issues surrounding identification in Australia. In New South Wales, they have the largest and best resourced police force in Australia. Over 17,000 officers and an annual budget of nearly 5 billion Australian dollars. You would think that they would have been able to identify a skeleton as that of Richard Leape, Leape. So it's either Leape or Leape. He was born in 1956 and grew up in northern New South Wales. He was a well-liked high achiever. His family, his wife, didn't notice him becoming more mentally unstable. And eventually they split up and he went to Sydney to become an actor. I guess that's where he went to become an actor in Australia. And he stayed with his friends in the theater. He got roles in TV commercials and soap operas, so he was doing something. But there were two traumatic things that happened to him. He became involved with a spiritual organization, aka a cult, called Kenya, Kenja, with allegations against this group of spiritual and intimate abuse. Even more disturbing, Richard was also abducted by a group of unknown men as he left a train station one night, driven to the bush, and assaulted. His sister believes this attack may have involved an intimate assault, which men are far less likely to report, by the way. I'll add that myself. He managed to escape and was initially reluctant to seek help until his wife, with whom he was trying to reconcile to, urged him to seek medical treatment. At the hospital, it was determined he required immediate surgery for a broken jaw. The assault took a horrible toll on his mental health. I bet it did, especially if it involved excuse me, unwanted intimacy. He sent his family letters outlining horrendous and untrue accusations, possibly relating to therapy he'd received at Kenya, to uncover past memories, aka false memories. His sister Annette realized this was mental illness. Richard would lose touch with his family for months, and when they did speak, he sounded unwell, claiming he was selling flowers in exchange for accommodation. He arrived for a visit with his daughter, filthy and unwell. He apparently wandered the greater Sydney area, being hospitalized in Katoomba and Hornsby after being seen behaving erratically, then absconded shortly after. Means left. His sister Annette began a desperate effort to get him help. She traveled to Sydney to look for him in an attempt to gain guardianship so he could be treated. But the board refused the application, as they would need to speak to Richard himself and he couldn't be located. His sister went back and forth to Sydney from northern New South Wales many times, even though she was unfamiliar with the city, and checked every homeless shelter, refuge, soup kitchen, alley, tunnel. And if she did make fleeting contact with him, he would run, claiming he was wired with explosives or being chased by Nazis. Yeah, he had a serious problem. The last confirmed sighting of him was in mid-1993 when he was treated at a community health clinic connected to St. Vincent Hospital in inner city Darlinghurst. Annette reported him missing in September of 1993. She continued to travel to Sydney to search for him for year after year. He actually talked to an officer who had been one of his students when he had been a teacher, and was so unwell he didn't even remember having been a teacher. And he has not been seen since then. In 1996, skeletal remains were discovered at Thornton, near Maitland, New South Wales. He was believed to have died in the winter of 1994 or 1995. He was described as being between 28 and 45 years of age, 169 centimeters to 177 centimeters, and according to them, that is between 5'6" and 5'10". I don't even want you to think I figured that out on my own. Long, fair, wavy hair and a ginger beard, mustache, and eyebrows. He was wearing several layers of clothing. A sloppy Joe type shirt over a black jumper with a pocket on the front at the waist. So like a kangaroo pocket, like I'm wearing. And this is a jumper, a sweatshirt. Another jumper under that. Oh no, I'm sorry. A beige vest under that, and a V-neck t-shirt under that. Olive green tracksuit pants over green Amco jeans, size 84 centimeter waist, whatever that is. Over beige tracksuit pants, over black tracksuit pants. He wore a Speedo swimsuit underneath with a white rope pattern longitudinally. That's up and down. Richard was 37 when last seen. He had reddish blonde hair. And police, of course, asked for dental records. Okay, so she had to send his original dental records, not the dental records after the broken jaw, where they removed teeth and put a wire in, a plate in, which they wired And they lost the dental records. And they lost the original missing persons report. So she had to file a second one, which they also promptly lost. And they know the bones had been sent to the U.S. for mitochondrial DNA. But a coroner's inquest was held, which the family was not made aware of. Because the police said they couldn't contact them, which was baloney. In 2009, a family friend who knew Richard in his youth claimed to see someone who looked like Richard in Belmore Park near Central Station, and a place where homeless people often gather. She called the missing persons unit, his sister, to find out if they could go look, see if it's him. Because they said, well, what do you want us to do about it? This is one of the worst investigations I've ever seen in my life. His last address was a boarding house in Paddington before living on the streets. A boarding house is like a rooming house. It's not a group home or institution. Which it isn't in the U.S. either. I'm not sure why this person thought it was. Anthropologist and criminologist Dr. Xanthi Mellet has been advocating for years for an Australian database of unidentified remains. Something like, well, they're in the DOE network, but something like NamUs for Australia. Now, the unidentified was found on April 27, 1996 in Maitland, New South Wales. He is estimated to have died during the winter, June to August, 94 to 95. So one of those 2 years in June to August, because that's winter. Although in a lot of Australia, winter isn't really what we think of as winter. As I've talked about before, they don't have much of a winter in most places in Australia. He was 28 to 45 years old, a white male, 5'6" to 5'10", long and wavy hair, ginger beard, mustache, and eyebrows. If you have any information about this case, it's weird because it's about the unidentified person, but it's also about Richard. Can his sister or his mother give their DNA to be tested? Can they get the medical records and test the actual x-rays and stuff to the jaw? It's just sheep's crow. You know what I mean? And yes, their winter, as mentioned previously on this channel, is opposite of ours. So while June to August would be our summer, actually June till the end of September, that would be their winter because they're in the southern hemisphere. There were no footwear, no jewelry, no personal items. So, if you have any information on the unidentified person or on Richard, really, call the Maitland Police at 407-539-6266. 6262. That's 407-539-6262. I'm gonna try to make a poster for this case. This case is confusing because it's two cases in one. So I'm going to try to get a picture of Richard and a picture of the doe and put them together, if there isn't already one together. Because I think there's a good possibility, excuse me, that, sorry, they are the same person. So, which is why I did it on what normally would not be a doe day, because it's Monday. On Wednesday, we do the case of Tyler Bowe. And on Friday, we do a different Princess Doe. So, thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you on Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. Again, this case is so convoluted. And Sydney police only made it worse. That's why, probably why they give the Maitland police number. Excuse me. So, they do need a name us system for Australia. They need one for the UK too. Unfortunately, they don't do DNA in the UK for unidentified persons. It's privacy issues or something. It's dumb. From where I sit in the United States, it's dumb. But anyway. But, like I said, they do in Australia. But unfortunately, they have a morgue full of people they haven't done anything with. So, yeah, that's just great. I wonder how many other big cities in Australia have that issue. So, thank you so very, very much. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you on Wednesday. Bye, guys. Please subscribe. We are trying to get to 500 by the 4th of July. Already at 500. 750 by the 4th of July. I got 2 channels and I'm confused. I have 3, but one is nowhere close. Bye, guys.